Pain is unpleasant and can certainly be overwhelming, but it is important to know that pain is a normal sensory and emotional experience. In fact, it is actually an essential part of life because it alerts you to danger. However, with a lot of different body systems involved, sometimes the pain system can get a little complicated. Pain can be categorized as either acute or persistent. Acute pain is a result of tissue damage, meaning something in your body was actually injured, so pain serves a protective purpose to prevent you from further injury. Typically, acute pain will go away by the time the tissue is done healing. For example, bone takes about 6 weeks to heal, so typically, if you break a bone, the pain will be gone within 6 weeks. On the other hand, persistent or chronic pain lasts longer than the tissue healing time and is often magnified beyond the original tissue insult. Persistent pain is no longer associated with actual damage, and therefore it no longer serves a purpose. Let's backtrack for a second and look at what actually causes pain. All throughout our bodies we have sensors, or nociceptors, that respond to painful stimuli. A stimulus can be mechanical, like a cut, thermal, like a burn, or chemical, like from an acid. When these sensors are stimulated, they send alarm messages along nerves to the spinal cord, and then up to the brain. But the messages aren't pain messages. In fact, a stimulus isn't actually painful until the brain decides it is. The brain evaluates all the sensory information coming into it from the body tissues and makes a decision based on whether that information is a threat that requires action or whether it is something that we don't really need to worry about. A lot of other inputs to the brain, such as memories, hormones, emotions, fear, attention, and stress, all contribute to that decision and affect how your brain decides to respond. So why does some acute pain go away like it should, while sometimes it sticks around and becomes persistent? Well, the pain experience is very closely tied to the context in which the pain occurs. Injuries that happen in the presence of danger, trauma, or emotional distress are going to be perceived differently than an injury that happens in a more benign situation. For example, if a soccer player and a singer each sustained an identical foot injury, that injury will cause more pain in the soccer player because his feet are much more closely tied to his identity and livelihood. Similarly, both emotion and prior experience play a big role in pain. Negative emotions and associated experiences may amplify the pain, whereas positive emotions and experiences may mitigate it. Pain is not always an accurate measure of how bad the damage is. Have you ever noticed how excruciating a paper cut can be even though it appears so insignificant? On the other hand, think of the crazy stories of athletes breaking their legs or soldiers sustaining serious wounds without feeling any pain until much later. Or, someone might have severe arthritis in their knee or a large disc protrusion in their spine and feel no pain at all. Chronic pain can get a little complicated because it can involve changes to the alarm system itself. Peripheral sensitization involves an increased responsiveness to painful stimuli. That means all of those sensors are even more sensitive than they were before. It takes much less of a painful stimulus for them to send their messages to the spinal cord. Whereas being flicked on the shoulder may have just been a little bothersome before, now it really hurts. When something that only hurt a little now hurts a lot, it's called hyperalgesia. Sensitization can happen at the spinal cord and brain levels too. This is known as central sensitization. When those alarm messages keep arriving at the spinal cord, it gets better at transmitting those danger signals up to your brain. Hyperalgesia can happen here as well. Allodynia is another form of increased sensitivity, where things that didn't hurt at all before, such as lightly brushing your arm against something or touching a warm cup of coffee, are now painful. With central sensitization, your spinal cord amplifies pain information and tells your brain that there is more danger at the tissues than there actually is. But it's important to remember your body and brain are just trying to protect you. The pain is normal, but the processes behind it are not. With all this going on, the brain can increase sensitivity too, meaning it is focusing more and more on those danger messages it is being sent. Remember, pain isn't pain until the brain decides it is, and with persistent pain, the brain is making that decision more and more frequently and at greater intensities. Pretty soon the brain is overwhelmed with pain messages, and that's all it can focus on. It adapts and gets better at activating all of your body's protective systems as a response, such as your hormones, immune system, and muscles, and those systems can feed back into the brain to perpetuate that pain experience. Even thinking about pain can make it worse. Even without any tissue damage, the pain persists, spreads, worsens, becomes less predictable, and is linked more to your thoughts and feelings. All pain is real pain, and it involves many thoughts and emotional contributions. The brain helps us understand why emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors are important in pain. Even when persistent pain feels like it is ruining your life, it hurts because your brain has concluded, for one reason or another, that you are threatened and in danger and need protecting. We just need to find out why the brain has come to that conclusion so we can try to retrain and refocus it to understand that you are safe.